Hello, my muchachos, and welcome back to another math video. And today we would like to learn about trigonometry. But it's going to be the first part of trigonometry, which is going to talk about sine, cosine, and tangent. So before we hop into the examples, let's just define what these three actually mean. So we know that sine theta equals opposite and hypotenuse, and cosine of theta is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, whereas tangent of theta is going to be opposite over adjacent. What are these actually? Well, they're actually a trigonometry. They're actually trigonometric ratios, which is essentially the ratio between between the two lines, like the hypotenuse over adjacent, for example. So it is also they also help us find the length of the sides and the angle of a right triangle. Like it also makes everything convenient and like daily use in construction, especially if you're trying to build something like a roof. So without further ado, let's hop it to some examples. So let's say a man is standing 6 meters away from a pool. How tall is the pool when he looks 60 degrees up to the top of the pool? Well, we actually want to know how tall the pool exactly is with respect to the distance between the man and the pool. So I'll just gonna say that the man is like, I don't know, like, okay, so like I'm just gonna say that the man is exactly like 1.8 meters. So let me just set up a right triangle here. And this is how tall the man will exactly be. But here's the problem. We want to know exactly how tall we want to know exactly how tall the pole exactly is based on the man's height. So we're just gonna put up an X right here. Yeah, like we're just exactly gonna put an X right here in order to add up the height of the pool. So that is 60 degrees over here, but note that it's not an accurate representation of how the scenario plays out. So we can actually ignore the 1.8 first and find x, and also find the length, the height of x there. So since we're trying to look for the height with respect with the distance, we want to use tangent, because remember, tangent of theta is equivalent to x over y over x, which is opposite over adjacent. So we can actually use this. Tangent of 60 equals x, yeah, I'm right. Okay, x over 6, and you multiply that by 6, and then you multiply this guy by 6 over there to get rid of the denominator, because we are multiplying both sides by 6. So 6 times tangent of 3, I think that's gonna give you 10.39.2. Now sum that up, and also sum this out. And that's gonna give you 12 0.192, and that's your final answer. Now we're finally done the example. Let's just move on to an example where it involves sine. So let's say that let's just say that a man. Okay, so like let's say that a boy is. Let's just say that a boy is 500 meters away from the ball. However, the ball is about let's say 70 degrees towards the boy, 70 degrees towards the boy's point of view. What is the distance between what is the distance between the boy's point of view and the ball? Well, we actually said that the boy is about 500 meters away from the ball, and that the angle between the boy's point of view and the ball is 70 degrees. So that actually means we can use cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. Because the hypotenuse represents the distance between the angle because the hypotenuse represents the distance between the eyesight of the boy and the ball. So here's your right triangle. Your ugly looking right triangle, I think. So that's 500 meters, right? And we wanna find the distance between the ball and the boy's and the boy's perspective. So we're gonna use cosine, and so that is 500 over x. Sorry guys. Sorry, it should be a cosine of 70 equals 500 over x. Multiply both sides by x. Alright, now to clean this up, we can divide both sides by cosine of 70. So 500 divided by cosine of 70, and I think that's gonna give you 1,461.9 meters. That is pretty far. But if you want to convert that into a bigger unit of measurement, we can say that the distance between the ball and the eyesight of the boy is 1.461 meters. And now let's hop into a final example that involves cosine. So let's just say that. Okay, so let's just actually say that let's just say a friend is looking at a boy. Okay, so let's just say a man is looking up to a boy who is standing on a 60-meter cliff. And we want to find out the distance between the friend's eyesight and the boy. So in this case, we're gonna use cosine because cosine equals the height and the hypotenuse, or in mathematical terms, the opposite over the hypotenuse. So let's say the angle of let's say that the first angle of view is 68 degrees. So sine of 68 equals 60 over x. Now we're gonna multiply both sides by x. And now we're gonna be left with this beautiful looking equation here. So now to clean this up, we can divide both sides by sine over 68, because x is multiplied by sine 68. Then we have to divide both sides by sine 68 to get rid of this guy over here, because it's the opposite of division. Because multiplication is the opposite of division. So x equals 60 over sine of 68, and that's gonna give you a final answer of 160.168 meters, and that is the distance between the first perspective and the boy. Oops. And Erica, we're finally done. So yeah, like that's all for the video, all my friends, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one. Adios, my fellow learners, and happy learning.